Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. So this month marks 20 years since I quit drinking soda in 2003. A little bit of background. When I was a kid, I used to drink a lot of soda. I would drink 1 to 2 liters a day. Actually, toward the end, it was closer to 2 to 3 liters every day. It really upset my parents. It was causing a lot of mental health problems for me. I was violent. Uh, I was 16 years old when I quit drinking soda. My parents tried to get me to cut back on soda. You got to remember the attitude people have in 2003, right? Going out to eat, going to a party, almost always involves some amount of soda. But my parents wanted to limit the soda to those kinds of occasions. We would go to the grocery store. At the time, my family and I used to shop at a Food for Less, if I remember correctly. They have since closed. And we would go there once every week or 2 weeks. And my parents would buy about as much soda as they thought I should drink in 1 or 2 weeks. I'd get home and I would drink it all. Also, I was going to college part time, and I started really loving going to certain seminars or events because I knew soda was being served there. You got to remember, this is 2003. Nowadays, it's actually quite hard to find soda at a school event. I teach at Phoenix College. Sometimes we have training events, and there's almost always more water than soda at those events, right? So I'm glad to see that. But back in 2003, it was very hard to find bottled water, right? Very different days. And my parents tried to get me to cut back. I would sneak out to events like that, which was really nice, actually. Actually, sneaking out to events like that is kind of what led to the downfall of my drinking soda habit. I'll get to that in a second. So I would sneak out to school events, to parties, to anything that involves soda. And around the same time, I also started walking long distances. We lived in a suburb of Pittsburgh called Murraysville. It's a good 15-minute walk before you get to the business area of Murraysville, and it's a good 20 or 30 miles away from downtown Pittsburgh. And all of a sudden, I started liking to walk long distances, and I would go out and get soda, and this really upset my family. And then I started sneaking out to go to school events and all that. And something happened that made me quit drinking the soda. There was a girl at the school that I liked, and I was very overweight. I was a lot shorter than I am today, and I weighed about 180, 190 pounds, if I remember correctly. And I went home and I was just about to reach for my favorite soda when I'm like, gee, I think I want to lose some weight because of this girl. And I must have drank my first glass of water in many, 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 many years at that point in time. I'm not exaggerating. Well, maybe not the first one, but the first one I drank voluntarily. In the past, maybe there were times when nothing else was available, right? The first glass of water I drank voluntarily in probably closer to like half a decade, I want to say. And it wasn't so bad. And I I immediately asked myself, would it be possible if I went the rest of my life without drinking soda? And that thought just gnawed at me. Like if I could go the rest of my life without one sip of soda. And I like that idea so much that I never touched soda again. In fact, that 2 liter bottle of soda that I had been fighting with my parents over at the grocery store the past week, it just sat in our refrigerator until it pretty much went bad because nobody in my family drank soda by this point in time. Now, I used to love to watch health videos. Ever since I quit drinking soda, actually, I know why I started watching videos about health. One day, out of sheer boredom, I Googled the words, what happens when you quit drinking soda? Something like that. Actually, it might not even have been Google because we're talking about 2003, 2004. I searched online somewhere, what happens when you stop drinking soda? And not long after I searched that, I came across a website written by Dr. Mercola. This was many, many, many years ago before he is what he is today. His website got taken down a few times because of some opinions about the pandemic that he had that didn't jive with mainstream media. But I Googled what happens when you quit drinking soda, and I came across Dr. Mercola. And as I was reading, he was talking about how he deals with his patients. And it seemed like he was more upset about soda than about alcohol. He had patients with drinking problems, and he would address the soda first. And so it was almost like beer was better for you than soda. I was 17 years old at the time, and I decided I had to see what beer was all about. So I tried non-alcoholic beer, which I still enjoy a lot today. What was funny was that around the same time, my dad was teaching me how to drive, and I started liking non-alcoholic beer. And one day, while my dad was teaching me how to drive, I was behind the wheel. Without even thinking about it, I cracked open a non-alcoholic beer and started drinking it. And as soon as I realized what I was doing, I thought that was the funniest thing in the world. And I made it a habit. Every time I went out driving, I would open the window and wave my beer at people to show people that I'm drinking beer while I'm behind the wheel. I just thought that was the funniest thing in the world. Until not long after that, a friend of mine got into a very serious accident drinking actual beer and driving. Maybe not while driving, but before he was behind the wheel. And he ended up in the hospital. And that didn't seem like a fun joke anymore. I still like non-alcoholic beer, but I don't joke about drinking it behind the wheel. Sometimes I just happen to drink it behind the wheel, but I don't joke about it anymore ever since some of the tragedies that I've experienced. And so I propose, because I quit drinking soda during the fall, right at the beginning of the fall semester in 2023, and I love the autumn season so much. I propose we make September 22nd a no soda day where we just go 24 hours without soda. And the reason for that is to show yourself that there's nothing wrong with water, right? Too many people get in the habit of reaching for soda that they can't see any way out of it, right? And if you go 24 hours without soda and you realize, hey, water tastes pretty good too, non-alcoholic beer tastes pretty good too, coconut water tastes pretty good too, whatever you decide to drink that's not soda also tastes very good, right? I had a fetish actually. I had a girlfriend a few years ago, and she and I used to like to drink each other's bodily fluids, and I can personally attest that tastes okay too compared to the soda. And so just drink whatever besides soda, right? Uh, Anything, even if it's beer, even if it's real beer, right? Just let yourself know that life exists outside of soda. All right, happy No Soda Day. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.